Hello students, so in this video let's start test series 8 and it is based on ecology and environment concepts. So the first question is, temperature and water are the most ecologically relevant environmental factors. In this context, consider the following statements. The first statement is, stenothermal organism can tolerate and thrive a wide range of temperatures. Second is, euryhaline organisms are restricted to a narrow range of salinity. So here we have to learn about this stenothermal, eurythermal, and we also have euryhaline and stenohaline. So here eurythermal organisms can tolerate wide range of temperatures and stenothermal organisms can tolerate only to restricted range of temperatures. See here, Uri means, remember, like wide range, and thermal is temperature, haline is salinity. Okay, so Uri is wide range, steno means it is only limited to a particular thing, that's it. So here they gave stenothermal. Steno means a limited thing, so which has a limited thermal capacity. So here stenothermal means the organisms which can tolerate only up to a limited range of temperatures. So first statement is wrong. Coming to eurohaline, we know euro means more. It can tolerate to wide range of haline. Haline means salinity. So wide range of salinity. So euryhaline organisms are restricted to. It is not restricted. It is. It has a wide range of salinity. Okay, so it is not narrow range, it is a wide range. So both these statements are wrong, so they asked which is not correct, so both 1 and 2. Next question is, with the reference to hunting of wild animals in India, consider the following statements. So first statement is, the chief wildlife warden can permit to hunt the wild animals that has become dangerous for human life. First statement is correct. Second is, the killing of wild animal in self-defense is not considered as an offense. Second is also correct. Third statement is, any wildlife animal killed or wounded in defense of a person is considered as the property of the government. So all these statements are correct. So option D. Third question, in the context of biodiversity, Allen's rule states that. So Allen's rule states that the mammals from the colder climates have shorter ears and limbs to minimize the heat loss. So option A. And we also have the other rule, which it is called Bergman's rule. Here this Bergman's rule states that organisms at higher altitude should be larger and thicker than those close to the equator to better conserve heat. Okay, this is Bergman's rule, and this Allen's rule is, mammals from colder climates have shorter ears and limbs to minimize the heat loss. Now fourth question is, with reference to the photosynthetically active radiation, PAR, consider the following statements. So here PAR is the spectral range of solar radiation from 400 to 700 nanometers, and here in between these range, the photosynthetic organisms are able to use in the process of photosynthesis. Okay, so let's look into the statements. The first statement is, of the total incident solar radiation, more than 70% of it is photosynthetically active radiation. So the first statement is wrong because it is only less than 50%. Okay, less than 50% is PAR radiation. So first statement is wrong. Second statement is, plants on the earth capture only 2 to 10% of the total PAR. So yes, second statement is correct. So option B. Fifth question, with reference to the different zones of an aquatic ecosystem, consider the following statements. The first statement is, limnatic zone is well lit and is dominated by plankton. So first statement is correct. Limnatic zone is well lit and it has wide range of planktons. Next is, profundal zone is a deep water part of lake or a pond. Even second statement is also correct. And we have the other zone, called littoral zone. Littoral zone is the topmost zone near the shore or a lake, near the shore of lake or a pond. So here both these statements are correct. So option C. Sixth question, which of the following reasons account for lesser biodiversity in temperature regions as compared to tropical regions of the world? So first statement is tropical regions have been subjected to frequent glaciation in the past, while temperate latitudes have remained undisturbed. So here first statement is wrong because the frequent glaciations occurred in the temperate regions, not tropical regions. So first statement is wrong. Second statement is temperate environments are less seasonal and stable, thus promoting niche specialization. Uh, so here also it is not temperate, it is tropical environments are less seasonal and stable than promoting niche specialization. So second statement is also wrong. And coming to this one, there is more solar energy available in the tropics, which contributes to higher productivity. Only option 3 is correct. So statement 3 is correct. So option C. Seventh question with reference to the parasitism. So consider the following statement. So parasites that feed on external surface of the host organism are called endoparasites. So the first statement is wrong because the parasites that feed on external organisms are called ectoparasites, not endoparasites. So first statement is wrong. Second statement is ectoparasites live inside the host body at different sites. So second statement is also wrong because it is not ecto. Ectoparasites feed on the external surface, but endoparasites feed on inside the host body. So second statement is also wrong. Coming to third one, in brood parasitism, a parasite does not feed on the organism. Here in brood parasites, these brood parasites are those that rely on other animals to raise their young ones. So they do not feed on the organism. So only option 3, statement 3 is correct. So option A. Eighth question, recently seen in news, Operation Narcos is an. So here, recently, Railway Protection Force has recovered 7.40 crore narcotic products and arrested 165 people in this operation. So it is a month-long pan-India drive against smuggling of narcotics through rail. So option C. Ninth question, which of the following processes are involved in decomposition? So we have fragmentation, catabolism, humification, mineralization. So here the decomposition process involves all these processes. Here fragmentation is the detrivores or earthworms break into smaller particles. So it is a type of decomposition. Next is catabolism. Catabolism is here in catabolism, the bacterial or fungal enzymes degrade into a simpler inorganic substances. Next is humification. In humification, it leads to accumulation of dark colored substance called humus. That is called humification. Next is mineralization. Mineralization is this humus gets degraded by some microbes and release inorganic nutrients and this process is called mineralization. We have another process involved in decomposition called leaching. So leaching is a water soluble inorganic things that get dissolved into salts in the soil. So all these four are the processes involved in decomposition. So option D. 10th question, that this tribal community of Rajasthan are considered as first environmentalists in the world. They remove living insects from the firewood before burning. They never cut trees or wait for trees to die on their own or fall down during storms. Wildlife like chinkara and blackbugs move freely in their settlement. So who among the following are being described in the above given passage? So it is Bishnois. Okay, Bishnois So they are the first environmentalists in the world. Next, so option C. Coming to bills are the oldest tribes in India. These are found in Rajasthan, Gujarat, Malwa region, Madhya Pradesh and Bihar. Gonds are the largest Adivasi community in India, from Godavari basins to Vindhya mountains. And next, baigas are found mainly in Madhya Pradesh, and some others are found in Uttar Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand. So the 11th question is, consider the following statements. The first wildlife action plan was adopted under the provisions of National Forest Policy 1988. So the first statement is wrong. Uh, because the first wildlife action plan was adopted on under the Indian Board of Wildlife of 1982. First statement is wrong. Second statement is, the National Board for Wildlife is headed by Union Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. The second statement is also wrong, because the National Board of Wildlife is headed by the Prime Minister. So both these are wrong. So option D. 12th question, sacred groves are given and the state is given. So here the sacred groves are the untouched forest areas and are protected by the local people due to their culture and religious beliefs. So sacred groves and states are given. Than, the three pairs are given. Than in Assam, Kavus in Tamil Nadu, Devarakadu in Karnataka. So here Thans are located in Assam. First pair is correct, but Kavus are in Kerala. So second statement is wrong. Devarakadu is located in Karnataka. So only 1 and 3 statements are correct. So option C. And next we have other types of, so other safe grouped areas also, which are Sarna in Bihar, Devvan in Himachal Pradesh, Dev in Madhya Pradesh, Devrai in Maharashtra, Lai Umang in Manipur, Law Kyontag or Asong Kosi in Meghalaya, and Oran in Rajasthan. Kovalkadu or Sarpakavu is called in Tamil Nadu. So only 1 and 3 statements are correct. So option C. 13th question, which of the following are the ex situ methods of biodiversity conservation? So here the ex situ method of conservation is the conservation of the wildlife outside its natural habitat. For example, aquarium, parks, agricultural research center, forest research center, all these are the ex situ conservation centers. So botanical garden and zoo are only included. Biosphere reserve is an in situ conservation and it is within the wildlife ecosystem. So only 1 and 3 statements are correct. So option C. 14th question, conformers are those type of organisms that depend on the external sources of body heat, as they cannot regulate their body temperature as per the variations in the external temperature. So in this context, which of the following are the examples of conformers? So here the hummingbirds and shrews, both these animals depend on the external sources of energy for body heat, and these both cannot regulate their body temperatures. So these both are conformers, whereas peacock and mammals can regulate body temperature. So only 1 and 2 statements are correct. So option A. 15th question, with reference to the environmental impact of chemicals used in day-to-day life, consider the following statements. The first statement is alum. Alum is the aluminium sulfate, is a non-toxic liquid that is commonly used in water treatment plants to clarify drinking water. The second one is hydrogen peroxide, is a more environmentally friendly chemical for bleaching of cloths than the chlorine gas. So both these statements are correct. So option C. 16th question, in the context of interspecific interactions among various species, in which of the following cases only one organism is benefited? So here in competition, different species compete for the same resource and both are affected. So the first one will not be there. In predation, predation is one organism kills and eat the other animal. So predation. And next is parasitism. Here one organism live in other body. So third one is also correct. Fourth is commensalism. So in this type, This is a type of relationship between two organisms where one organisms benefit other without harming the other one. So even this is also included. Next is amensalism. So in this, one species destroys the other. So all these 2, 3, 4 and 5 are correct. Sorry, here um, in amensalism, one species destroys others. So only 2, 3 and 4 are correct. So option A. 17th question. Recently, a statue of peace dedicated to him has been unveiled in the Kashmir. He was one of the greatest flag bearers of the Vaishnav sect and propounded the doctrine of Vishishtadvaita. The great saint is known for sculptures like Gita Bhashya, in which he propagated the egalitarian society. He is believed to be the first Hindu acharya to initiate women into sannyasa. So he is Swami Ramanujacharya. Option B. 18th question. Some pollutants are also divided into quantitative and qualitative pollutants on the basis of their existence in nature. So in this context, which of the following are examples of qualitative pollutants? So here we have qualitative pollutants and quantitative pollutants. So qualitative pollutants are those, so in uh, these substances exist in nature, but when their concentration or quantity increases up to a critical level, then they act as pollutants. Like carbon dioxide and nitrogen act as quantitative pollutants. They depend on the quantity. Next is qualitative pollutants. So these are not present in the environment. They are introduced through man's activities like pesticides, chemical fertilizers, herbicides, etc. are the qualitative pollutants. So they asked about qualitative pollutants. So qualitative pollutants are DDT and herbicide. So 1 and 3. Whereas nitrogen oxide and carbon dioxide are the quantitative pollutants. 19th question. With reference to the radioactive pollution, consider the following statements. The first statement is radioactive dust can remain at altitudes as high as 3000 meters. Second is X-ray machines at airports are the source of radioactive pollution. Both these statements are correct. So option C. 28th question. With reference to the biomass production, consider the following statements. The first statement is gross primary productivity of an ecosystem is the rate of production of organic matter during photosynthesis. So the first statement is correct. Next is gross primary productivity minus respiration losses is equal to the net primary productivity. Even the second statement is correct. But the third statement is the contribution of oceans to the net primary productivity of the biosphere is more than 50%. It is not 50, it is 70%. Okay. So um, so only 1 and 2 statements are correct. So option A. 21st question. People for the ethical treatment of animals often seen in news. So it is an international non-profitable charitable organization. So option C. 22nd question. These plants were introduced into India for their lovely flowers have caused havoc by their excessive growth by causing blocks in our waterways. They are also called terror of Bengal. They grow abundantly in eutrophic water bodies and lead to an imbalance in the ecosystem dynamics of the water body. So, which of the following plants are being described in the passage given below? Given above, it is water hyacinth. So, option A. So, these are called the terror of Bengal. These were introduced for their lovely flowers, but it is now causing havoc. 23rd question. Which of the following statements is or are correct with reference to the desert ecosystem? So the first statement is the soil in the desert is coarse. First statement is correct. Second is animal diversity in the deserts is very high. The animal diversity in deserts is very low. So second statement is wrong. Next is plants have waxy surface to reduce water losses. So only option C is correct. 1 and 3 statements are correct. 24th question, India has started several ambitious projects over the years to conserve wildlife. In the context, arrange the following conservation projects in chronological order starting from the earliest. So Project Tiger is introduced in 1973, Project Elephant is introduced in 1992, Project Crocodile is introduced in 1975. So the chronological order is 1, 3 and 2. So B. 25th question, plant biodiversity enables us to extract a wide variety of chemicals for commercial use. In this context, which of the following are extracted from plants? So nicotine, caffeine, quinine, stenchine, all these are extracted from the plants for commercial use. So option D. 26th question, consider the following statements with respect to the air pollution. So electrostatic precipitator is used to remove particulate matter present in the exhaust from the thermal power plant. So first statement is correct. Second statement is a scrubber can remove gases like nitrogen. So here a scrubber can remove the gases like sulfur dioxide. So for second statement is wrong. Next is platinum palladium is used in catalytic converters in the automobiles for reducing emissions of poisonous gas. So 1 and 2 statements only are correct. So option C. Next is 27th question. Which of the following statements best describes poikilotherms? So poikilotherms are those organisms where internal temperature varies considerably. So option D. 28th question, sometimes seen in the news, Lisbon Declaration is related to. So recently, United Nations Conference, Ocean Conference has held in Lisbon. So there a Lisbon Declaration was introduced. So it is a declaration signed at the United Nations Ocean Conference to scale up actions against maritime pollution and habitat loss. So option C. 29th question, with reference to the eutrophication, which of the following statements are not correct? So eutrophication is where in water bodies, when excess of nutrients are present, then that may lead to death of the animals. So let's look into the statements. The first statement is it refers to the process by which a body of water becomes progressively enriched with minerals and nutrients. The first statement is correct. Second is it leads to an increase in the density of animal population while restricting the growth of plants in the aquatic environment. C, option B is wrong, because when nutrients and minerals are enriched, the oxygen levels in the water body becomes very low, that the animal population decreases. So option B is wrong. Option C is it may cause loss of coral reefs due to increase in the turbidity of water. It is correct. Next is it eventually creates a detritus layer in lakes and produces a successively shallower depths of surface water. Next is 30th question. Consider the following pairs. So chemicals and adverse effects are given. So carbaryl pesticide. So it kills honeybees. Next is toxaphene. It deformities in the backbones of fishes. Next is dichloro-diphenyl trichloroethane. It is thinning of bird eggshells. So all these pairs are correct. So option A. 31st question, with reference to the Indian Forest Act 1927, consider the following statements. The first statement is the state government is empowered to notify forest land as the property of government. So first statement is correct. Next is only the central government can declare the trees in the protected area as reserved. So here only it is central government. It is not central government, it is the state government. The state government can declare the trees in the protected forest as reserved. So second one is wrong. Coming to third one, state government may assign to a village community the rights of the government over any land that has been constituted as reserve forest. So 1 and 3 statements are correct. So option C. 32nd question, primary production is defined as the amount of biomass or organic matter produced per unit area over a time period by plants during the photosynthesis. In this respect, primary productivity depends on which of the following? So first is plant species inhabiting in a particular area. So yes, it depends even in the area. Next is availability of nutrients, and the next is photosynthetic capacity of plants. So all these are correct. Because of all these things, uh, the biomass or the organic matter produced over the time depends. The photosynthesis depends. So option B is the right one. 33rd question, which of the following statements best describes the term pop fame which was seen in the news? So pop fame is a fuel molecule developed by the bacteria by the scientific community called USA, from the USA. So USA scientists have developed a fuel which can be used even in the spacecrafts. So that fuel is called pop fame, and it is derived from the bacteria. Okay, so option A is the correct answer. 34th question, with reference to the decomposition of organic matter, consider the following statements. The first statement is by bacterial and fungal enzymes degrade detritus into simpler inorganic substances through the process called catabolism. So first statement is correct. Next is decomposition rate is faster if detritus is rich in lignin and chitin. So second statement is wrong because the decomposition rate will be faster if the detritus is rich in nitrogen and sugars. So second one is wrong. Coming to third statement, the humus formed during decomposition is highly resistant to microbial action. So option B is the right one. 1 and 3 statements are correct. 35th question, with reference to the solid waste management in India, consider the following statements. The first statement is in India, waste is defined as any material which is broken or worn out under Environment Protection Act of 1986. So the first statement is wrong, because waste is not defined in this act. Next is tailing are a type of e-waste materials produced during the recycling of discarded electronic items. So second statement is also wrong because the tailing in mining, tailings are the materials left over after the process of separating the valuable fractions from uneconomic fraction of an ore. So both these statements are wrong. So option D. 36th question, which of the following symbols or phrases are visible on the national emblem of India? So all these are visible except tiger. So option A is the correct answer. 37th question, with reference to the photochemical smog, consider the following statements. So here smog means it is the combination of smoke and a fog. So first statement is it is a result of the action of sunlight on unsaturated hydrocarbons and nitrogen oxides. So first statement is correct. Next is it usually occurs in a cold and humid climate. So smog generally occurs in a warm, dry and sunny climate. So only first statement is correct. So option A. 38th question, due to the climate change, coral bleaching events have become a recurrent feature of the lake. So in this context, which of the following factors can cause coral bleaching? So the first statement is increased exposure to ultraviolet radiation. Second is sediments such as sand covering the corals. Next is entry of excess nutrients such as ammonia and nitrate fertilizers into the coral reefs. Next is excess storm water from rains entering the coral reefs, and next is salinity changes. So all these are the causes for the coral bleaching. So option D is the right one. 39th question, with reference to the National Forest Policy of 1988, consider the following statement. So 1/4 of the total land area of the country should be under the forest cover. So the first statement is wrong. It is not 1/4. It is 1/4 means 25%. But here 33% of total forest area, land area of the country is under forest cover. So first statement is wrong. It is not 1/4 or 25%. It is 33%. Next is it provides for compensatory afforestation. Second statement is also correct. Next is wastelands and degraded lands have been suggested to be utilized for afforestation and other plantation purposes. So 2 and 3 statements are correct. So option B. 40th question, consider the following statements. No grazing of livestock is allowed in the national parks. So first statement is correct. Second is India's first national park was established in West Bengal. It is not West Bengal, it is Uttarakhand. And Jim Corbett National Park is India's first national park. Second statement is wrong. Coming to the third one, core zone of the biosphere reserve is an area of active cooperation between forest management and local community. So the third one is wrong because core zone is the zone where no human activity is permitted, whereas the transition zone is a biosphere reserve is an area of active cooperation between forest management and the local community. So second and third statements are wrong, and even only first statement is correct. So option B is the correct answer. 41st question, which of the following acts enacted the earliest? So here Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act is launched in 1981. Water Prevention and Control Pollution Act is launched in 1974. The Environment Protection Act is launched in 1986. Forest Conservation Act is launched in 1980. So this Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act is the earliest one. It is launched in 1974. 42nd question, consider in the context of biological interactions between two or more organisms, consider the following statements regarding antibiosis. So first statement is none of the interactive species are benefited in biosis. Next is blue-green algae that grows in ponds is associated with antibiosis interaction. So both these statements are correct. So option C. 43rd question, which of the following statements is not correct about the fungi? So first statement is fungi are heterotrophic organisms. Yes. All fungi are multicellular. So option B is wrong because not some fungi also will be the unicellular. Okay, so option B is wrong. Next is the cell walls of fungi are composed of chitin and polysaccharides. Next, antibiotics like penicillin are obtained from the fungi. So all these statements are correct except option B. It is the fungi also will be in unicellular. So option B1 is the answer. Next is 44th question. Which of the following trees or plants are you likely to find in the temperate forest? So in temperate forest, we can find oak, maple, cottonwood and willow. All these are correct. So option D. 45th question. Consider the following statements with regard to biological oxygen demand, BOD. First statement is it depicts the amount of organic pollution present in an aquatic ecosystem. The second one is high BOD level means the amount of dissolved oxygen available for marine organisms is low. So both these statements are correct. So option C. 46th question, index and organizations are given. So World Cities Report is given by UN Habitat. Next is Asia Pacific Sustainable Index is given by Knight Frank. So second pair is wrong. Third one is Global Findex database report is given by World Bank. So 1 and 3 only are the correct ones. So option D. 47th question, consider the following statements with the reference to the joint forest management. The first statement is it is a model of forest management where local communities are involved in planting and conservation programs. First statement is correct. Second one is it is a statutory program under the India Forest Act of 1927. So second statement is wrong because it is a program under National Forest Policy of 1988. Okay, so second one is wrong. So only one is correct. So option A. 48th question. Consider the following page. Traditional water harvesting system and states are given. So tankas are found in Gujarat. Next is Khatas. Khatas are found in Odisha. So second pair is wrong. In Ladakh we have zinc. So only 1 and 3 statements are correct. So option C. Which of the following defense mechanisms are developed by plants to ward off predators? So first statement is presence of fine hair on the surface of the leaves. Second is release of caffeine by certain plants. Next is presence of thorns in stems and leaves. So all these are correct. All these are the defense mechanisms developed by plants to ward off the predators. 50th question. The term evil quartet is frequently used to describe the threats to biodiversity. So in this context, which of the following are part of evil quartet? So overexploitation, coextinction, habitat loss and fragmentation are the um, are part of this evil quarter, but not climate change. Option B is the correct answer. Next is 51st question. Consider the following. First assertion: the Noise Pollution Regulation and Control Rules 2000 have been framed under the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. So first statement. Next is reason: the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981 considers noise as a air pollution. So here A is incorrect but R is correct, because assertion here, the Noise Pollution Regulation and Control Rules of 1987, not 2000. So option D. 52nd question: which of the following are the sources of methane emissions? So methane emissions are the sources of methane emission are landfills, termites, natural wetlands, gas drilling. All these are the sources of methane emissions. Option D. 54th question: management of radioactive waste in India is governed by rules framed under which of the following? So it is framed under the Atomic Energy Act of 1962. So option B. 54th question: with reference to the Prime Minister Employment Guarantee Program, consider the following statements. The first statement is it provides employment opportunities to the youth by assisting in the setting up of micro enterprises in the non-farm sector. Second is transgender people are considered under the special category in the Prime Minister Employment Guarantee Program to avail higher subsidies. Next, the nodal agency to implement PMEGP is Khadi and Village Industries Commission, KVIC. So all these statements are correct. So option D. 55th question: consider the following pairs, initiatives and subject matter is given. So Digital India Genesis, it is a national deep tech startup platform. First pair is correct. Next is India Stack. It is global repository of key projects like Aadhaar and UPI. And next is Meri Pehchan. Meri Pehchan is a national single sign on for one citizen login. So third pair is wrong, so only 1 and 2 are correct. So option B. 56th question: with reference to the diversity, consider the following statements. First statement is species diversity decreases as we move away from the poles towards the equator. The first statement is wrong, because species diversities decrease as we move from equator to the poles. Okay. Next is the Western Ghats have greater amphibian species than that of the Eastern Ghats. So second statement is correct. So only B. 57th question: with reference to the Environment Protection Act 1986, the central government can take which of the following actions? The first statement is it can set standards for the emission of pollutions from any source. Next, laying down procedures and safeguards for handling hazardous substances. Next is making rules in matters pertaining to environmental protection as well as pollution. So all these are correct. So option D. 58th question: which of the following countries or organizations form a part of I2U2 grouping? So Israel, USA, India and UAE form a part of I2U2 summit. So option A is the correct answer. 59th question: with reference to the Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra. Which one of the following statements is not correct? The first statement, option A, is the Rath Yatra is not a part of UNESCO World Intangible Cultural Heritage. Second is the images of God are made of stone. The images of God are not made of stone, it is made of wood. So option B is not correct. Next is Gotipua dance performance is associated with this yatra, and it is a festival celebrated every year during the month of Ashad. So option B is not correct. 60th question, consider the following statements with reference to the greenhouse gases. First statement is carbon dioxide accounts for more than 50% of the natural greenhouse effect. The first statement is wrong because it is not more than 50, it is 60%. Option 2, second statement is nitrous oxide has the capacity of trapping heat 300 times more effectively than carbon dioxide. Second is correct. Next is methane gas is emitted from paddy fields and coal mines. So 2 and 3 statements are correct. So option C is the right one. 61st question, consider the following page. Medicinal plant and applications are given. Next is a Karnavand. Karnavand is the treatment of stomach disorders. Next is Sitesh Cha Ashok. It is a treatment of skin ailments. Next is Katal Jashwant. It is a cure of joint pain. So all these pairs are correct. So option A. 62nd question, which of the following statements best describes the term bioprospecting? The first statement is bioprospecting is exploring molecular, genetic and species level diversity for products of economic importance. So option B is the right one. 63rd question, in the context of Financial Services Institutional Bureau, consider the following statements. The first statement is it will be the sole entity for recommendations related to appointments of the whole time directors as well as non-executive chairman of public sector banks. So first statement is correct. Next is a joint secretary of Ministry of Finance is deemed to be the ex officio chairman. The second statement is wrong because the chairman of FSIB will be nominated by the central government. The third statement is after the formation of FSIB, all assets, interests and liabilities of the bank's board bureau will be transferred to FSIB. So 1 and 3 statements are correct. So option B. 64th question, consider the following pairs. National park and states are given. So Tadoba National Park, it is in Maharashtra, not Uttarakhand. First pair is wrong. Next is Bandhavgarh National Park, it is in Madhya Pradesh. Next is Dudhwa National Park, it is in Uttar Pradesh. So 2 and 3 pairs are correct. So option B. 65th question, which of the following substances can cause depletion of ozone layer? So carbon tetrachloride, methyl bromide, difluoromethane, all these are the substances that can cause depletion of ozone layer. So option D. 66th question, with reference to the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, consider the following statements. The first statement is the director of wildlife preservation is appointed by the state government. No, it is not state government, it is appointed by the central government. First option is wrong. Next is it bans the trade and commerce in the scheduled animals without a permit. Second is correct. Next is blue vanda and pitcher plants are the only two plants to be provided protection under the act. So under this act, blue vanda, red vanda, ladies slipper orchids, kuth, bedome cycad and pitcher plant, all these are the plants that are provided protection under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. So only second statement is correct. So option B. 67th question, pollutant and impact is given. So first statement is lead. So due to lead, lead is Minamata disease. Next is fluoride. Fluoride is methemoglobinemia. Next is nitrate, it is dermatitis. So all these are not correct. So option D. 68th question, consider the following statements regarding ecological succession. So first statement is the entire sequence of communities that successively change in a given area is called Sire. Second statement is secondary succession is faster than primary succession. Both 1 and 2 statements are correct. Next is xerarch. Xerac succession in plants takes place in wet areas. So, in wet areas, the succession which takes place in wet areas is called hydrarch. Okay, and Xerac succession takes place in the dry areas. So, only 1 and 2 are correct. So, option A. 69th question with reference to the captive breeding. Captive breeding means endangered species are breeded in zoos. Okay, so that type of breeding is called captive breeding. So consider the following statements. First statement is it provides a means for conserving species that may not survive in the wild. So first statement is correct. Next is in India only zoos are permitted to conduct captive breeding programs. So it is not only zoos, it is also conducted in national parks, aquariums, etc. So second statement is wrong. Next is Nandankanam is the first ever captive breeding center for creating awareness in wildlife in India. So 1 and 3 statements are correct. So option C. 70th question recently seen in the news, Thaner scale can be best described as which one of the following? So, Tanner scale is a scale describing the onset and progression of pubertal changes based on external sex categories characteristics. So, option C. 71st question, coral reefs in India are found in. So, coral reefs in India are found in Park Bay, Lakshadweep Islands, Gulf of Kutch, Gulf of Mannar, and Andaman and Nicobars. In Sundarbans, we don't find coral reefs. So, only option C is correct. 72nd question with reference to the Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission, consider the following statements. First statement is it is an autonomous body fully financed by a central government. Its vision is to promote the highest standards of drugs for use in animals and humans. So both these statements are correct. So option C. 73rd question, consider the following statements with the reference to the effects of pollution on plants. First statement is hydrogen sulfide in the air causes leaf spots and defoliation. First statement is correct. Second one is high concentration on carbon monoxide causes leaf drop, premature aging and inhibition of cellular respiration. So both these statements are correct. So option C is the right answer. 74th question, snow blindness, a disease, is primarily caused by the thinning of ozone layer. Option A is the correct one. 75th question, which of the following activities of aquatic species acts as bioindicator of pollution? So first statement is presence of caliform bacteria. Second is abundance of diatoms and echornia in water. Next is movement of catla and lebofish species away from their natural habitats. So all these are the indicators, bioindicators of pollution. Option D is the correct answer. 76th question with reference to the adaptations observed in animals, consider the following statements. First statement is mammals inhabiting colder climates have shorter ears and limbs to minimize heat loss. Second is aquatic mammals of the polar seas have a thick layer of fat below their skin to reduce loss of body heat. So both these statements are correct. So option C. 77th question, NMC 2170, a term recently seen in news. So it is the first indigenous developed lithium ion cell. Option A is the correct answer. 78th question, which one of the following statements best defines endemic species? Endemic species means the species which are present within a limited area. So option A, the species confined to a limited region for their distribution is called endemic species. 79th question, consider the following statements. First statement is biopiracy is a theft or usurpation of genetic material by the patent process. Next is the Convention on Biodiversity, Biological Diversity gives sovereign national rights over biological resources. So both these statements are correct. So option C. 88th question, in spring when the snow melts, water enters lakes and rivers and the acid gets mingled into the water bodies making them highly acidic. So this condition is commonly referred to as spring shock or acid shock. So which of the following is responsible for spring shock or acid shock? It is The sulfuric acid. Option B is the right answer. 81st question, consider the following statements. First statement is, a pesticide is a biological or chemical agent that kills plant pest only. So it not only kills plant pest, it also kills animals. So first statement is wrong. Second one is, regular use of chemical pesticides may lead to biomagnification. Second statement is correct. Next is, bioneem is an environmentally friendly pesticide that leaves no residue on the foodstuff. So second and third statements are correct. So option B. 82nd question, consider the following statements with respect to mulching. So mulching is the process of covering open surface of the ground by a layer of some external material. So if you cover the ground with some external material, that is called mulching. Okay, so let's look at the statements. Mulching reduces moisture loss from the soil. First statement is correct. Next is, mulching results in the increase in the number of weeds. No, mulching results in the decrease in the number of weeds. Second is wrong. Next is, after mulching there is a continuous addition of organic matter to the soil. So 1 and 3 statements are correct. So option C. 83rd question, with reference to the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act of 1981, consider the following statements. First statement is, it provides for the establishment of Central Pollution Control Board for the prevention and control of air pollution. So here this act, that is Air Act 1981, doesn't provide Central Pollution Control Board. The Central Pollution Control Board is provided under the Water Act of 1974. So first statement is wrong. Second one is, any pollutant into at the atmosphere by ship or spacecraft comes under the purview of this act. So even this one is not correct, because this the pollution made by ship or aircraft doesn't come under this Air Pollution Act. So neither 1 or 2 are correct. So option D. 84th question, he was born in present Andhra Pradesh and later became involved in opposing the British in response to 1882 Madras Forest Act, which effectively restricted the free movement of Adivasis in their forest habitat and prevented them from practicing a traditional form of agriculture known as Podu. Rising discontent towards the British led to the Ramphar Rebellion in 1922, in which he played a major part as a leader. He was nicknamed as Manyam Virudu by local villagers for his heroic exploits. So which of the following personalities has been described in the passage above? It is Alluri Sita Ramaraju. Option C. 85th question, with reference to the ecological pyramids, consider the following statements. First statement is, the pyramids of biomass in the sea is generally inverted. So the first statement is correct. In sea, the pyramids of biomass is inverted. So here, ecological pyramids is the representation of different living organisms at different trophic levels in ecosystem. Okay, so in sea generally the pyramid is inverted. Next is, pyramid of energy can never be inverted. So energy pyramid can never be inverted. So second is also correct. Next is, saprophytes are not represented in the ecological pyramid. So all these statements are correct. So option D. 86th question, which of the following are the examples of invasive species? So the plants, animals, fungi or microorganisms that spread rapidly and cause harm to other species are called invasive species. Okay, so here rosy wolf snail, lantana, carrot grass, water hyacinth, all these are related to the invasive species. So option D. 87th question, which of the following species is or are now extinct? So stellar sea cow, Javan tiger, thylacine, all these are extinct now. So option D. 88th question, which of the following countries participated in the recently held Caspian Summit 2022? So Russia, Iran, Kazakhstan and Turkmenistan participated. So option C. 89th question, recently ISRO has received the successful launch of PSLV orbital experimental module, that is POM. In the context of this development, consider the following statements. The first statement is, POM allows In orbit scientific experiments using the third stage of polar satellite launch vehicle. It is not third stage. So experiments, it allows in orbit scientific experiments using the fourth stage of PSLV. Okay, so first statement is wrong. Next is PM is devoid of lithium ion. No, POM uses solar batteries as well as lithium ion batteries. So second is also wrong. So option D. 90th question, which of the following are used as biopesticides in controlling plant pests? So the first statement is pyrethrum, next is Bacillus thuringiensis, next is rotenone. So all these are used as the biopesticides in controlling plant pests. So option D. 91st question, consider the following statements with reference to the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora CITES. So it is adopted as a result of the resolution adopted at the meeting of the International Union of Conservation of Nature. First statement is correct. Next is it is legally binding on the parties. Yes. Next is export or import of any species mentioned in the appendices of sites require prior grant or permit. So all these statements are correct regarding sites. So option D. 92nd question, with reference to the Mission Shakti of the Ministry of Women and Child Development, consider the following statements. So all the sub-schemes under the Mission Shakti are funded in 60:40 ratio between center and states respectively. So here Mission Shakti has two sub-schemes. One is Sambal and the other is Samarthya. In the Sambal sub-scheme, we get 100% centrally funded, and in Samartha, it is 60:40 ratio between center and states respectively. So the first statement is wrong because all sub-schemes are not funded 60:40, because in this Sambal is funded 100% only by the center, and Samarthya is funded 60:40 ratio. So first statement is wrong. Next is Beti Bachao and Beti Padhao has become a part of Mission Shakti. So second statement is correct. So option B is the right answer. 93rd question. The term pivot recently seen in news is related to, so it is related to an AI based tool to detect cancer causing genes. So option B. 94th question, living organisms over time have acquired various mechanisms to deal with harsh abiotic conditions in their habitat. So in this context, consider the following pairs. The first one is hibernation. Hibernation is done in bear. Next is aestivation, it is done in snail. Next is diapause, it is done in zooplankton. So all these are correct. So option D. 95th question, recently seen in news, the tree show is a fossil of. It is a fossil of a mammal. Option D. 96th question, which of the following can help in promoting sustainable development? So first is use of non-conventional sources of energy. Next is use of compressed natural gas. Next is biocomposting. Next is solar power through photovoltaic cells. So all these are correct. So option D is the right one. 97th question, to cope with the extreme conditions, desert plants have adopted various mechanisms to minimize water loss. So in this context, which of the following adaptations can be observed in desert plants? So first one is arrangement of stomata in deep pits. Next is modification of leaves into spines. Next is photosynthesis by stems. So all these are adopted by the desert plants. So option D is the right one. 98th question, often seen in news, Montreal Protocol is related to. So it is related to controlling the emission of ozone depleting substances. So option B is the right one. 99th question, with reference to the standing crop, consider the following statements. So standing crops, so it is the total amount or weight or energy content of the organisms existing in a specific area of a particular time. So coming to the first statement, it refers to the total mass of producers or autotrophs in food chain at a particular time. So first statement is wrong because it is a total amount of mass or weight organisms have in the existing period. Okay, not of producers or autotrophs. So first is wrong. Next is, it is measured as a mass of living organisms or a number in a unit area. So second is correct. So only B is the correct answer. 100 statement: in a given food chain of a terrestrial ecosystem, an animal which is strictly herbivore will necessarily be classified as, it will be classified as the primary consumer. So option D is the right one.